Monster Hunter is one of those sleeper video game franchises that, by no accident, has exponentially grown over the years into the near zeitgeist it is today.
And with Monster Hunter Wilds on the immediate horizon, we thought it'd be best to organize and finally share our thoughts on why Monster Hunter is so much more than just hunting monsters. On the surface level, you have a very straightforward gameplay loop. Essentially, you set up a quest, fight a monster, carve it for parts, and use those parts to make better weapons and armor to fight even tougher monsters. Rinse and repeat, and you basically have every mainline Monster Hunter game in existence. This tried and true formula has withstood the test of time, and it stands out as the best monster hunting game/series in the industry. With each iteration, things are streamlined, updated, improved, added, and made even more fun and interactive. I remember first playing Monster Hunter Freedom Unite on my PSP and being blown away by how real it felt to fight these larger-than-life monsters. I truly felt like it was a hunt or be hunted situation, and the difference between life and death was how prepared I came and how well I knew my opponents. At this point, I had only experienced boss fights in a somewhat scripted, traditional sense. Get special weapon or item, fight boss with it, blow up the glowing red eyeballs. And while I don't really have an issue with that, that's seen in many RPGs and other video games alike, including Zelda, Resident Evil, Mario, Sonic, so on and so forth, Monster Hunter does things differently. Yes, there are weak points, but they are unique to each monster species, and depending on what weapon you choose to use, it can drastically change how you approach each fight. In fact, looking ahead towards Monster Hunter Generations on the 3DS, I felt confident enough in the game's quality to show someone who didn't have any experience with Monster Hunter up until that point and hadn't looked at a tiny screen to game on since the Game Boy Color days. And that person was none other than the love of my life and partner in crime, Nush.
Honestly, I was just happy to get to know Doza better, and seeing him light up as he talks about his favorite games or things he's passionate about has always been a personal joy of mine. You might even say that Monster Hunter has had an understated but huge impact on both our channel as well as our relationship. Clearly, it meant a lot to Doza, so when we saw that Monster Hunter World was going to be at PAX South 2018, we knew we had to be there to try it out for ourselves. And it was a pretty big deal. No longer was Monster Hunter regulated to itty-bitty handhelds and Nintendo consoles. This was going to be a big shift for the series, and being able to bring it to the mainstream, we got to witness that shift in real time. We stood in line for 2 hours watching people try their might, with countless meeting the failed quest screen. We got grouped with 2 randos we chatted up while waiting in line who had actually never played Monster Hunter before, one of which had only seen his friend play, a similar level of experience to my own. But when it came to choose a quest between 3 different monsters, a sort of easy, medium, and hard, Doza rallied us together and pushed for the hardest quest, because of course he did. Having no idea what to expect, we collectively put our faith in him and ventured out to hunt our monster. With a tight timer looming over us, we actually ended up completing our quest and finishing our hunt with seconds to spare, and Doza elated and glowing as ever. Fast forward to PAX West in 2019, where we had a similar experience with Monster Hunter Iceborne for the first time. At this convention, we even got to take a picture together after completing our quest while holding life-size replicas of some iconic Monster Hunter weapons. We will always remember these moments and so many other memories over the years where we played together alongside our Palicos, Mondays, and Lila. Now, Monster Hunter Wilds is just about here, and we're thrilled to journey together again.
And that's what we feel Monster Hunter excels at that not a lot of people really talk about. The feeling of going on these epic hunts together. Multiplayer, as far as either of us has played, has always been a staple in the series, but it wasn't always as easy as just joining a friend's lobby. I remember having to connect my PSP to my PS3 after downloading an app called Ad Hoc Party, I think from the Japanese PlayStation Store, just so I could play with others that weren't sitting right next to me. But the feeling of having others hunt with me, even if I didn't personally know them or would ever see them again, was unmatched. Beyond the initial jank of connecting to each other, nothing holds a candle to the actual cooperative multiplayer experience, and at this point, I have countless memories with Nush and others, whether they'd be silly, sad, happy, or heroic. Multiplayer and how having more bodies interacts with the actual monster is the true Monster Hunter experience for me, but you always have the option to take things on one-on-one before indulging in multiplayer. That is an extremely valid approach to these games, and no doubt many will continue that into Wilds. I've done that exact same thing with many FromSoft titles, including Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3, etc. I love the feeling of personal achievement on that first boss kill or first hunt, but it's eclipsed by being able to tackle a challenge together, and the beta gave me that feeling all over again, even if it was mostly with randos.
Something I truly appreciate about Monster Hunter is that I don't have to be the big hero all the time. That my successes and failures are not solely my own, but an influenceable collective of decisions that I make or choose to involve myself with. In the same way my Palico Lila helps me, I can help others and vice versa. You would think that if somebody who doesn't thrive in combat-oriented video games wouldn't be able to find joy in an almost exclusive boss fighting series like Monster Hunter. But actually, if I'm feeling overwhelmed and need to take a moment to recover, the game isn't so hard that me not being fully engaged in the fight 100% of the time won't mean immediate failure for my group. It's something I've grown to recognize in myself and in completely different video games over the years. Granted, I wanted to clarify that this flexibility and difficulty is mostly true for the base experience, not necessarily the hardest optional fights in the game. That's more of a Doza thing. While not a one-to-one comparison, this feeling and concept of not having it all fall on me is present in some of my favorite games. Super Mario World allows player 2 to contribute progress through levels and overworld without drastically affecting player 1. MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft similarly thrive on having a wide offering of difficulties for the same kinds of content. I don't feel like I'm missing out just because I'm not chasing the meta or going after the hardest challenges. I can use my comfort weapon even if it isn't getting world record times. I can make armor that helps me stay alive instead of just doing more damage. And beyond that, I get to experience a bit of everything I could want in a cooperative group format where I can feel I can contribute. In World of Warcraft, I really enjoyed playing my Frost Mage. Being able to slow and freeze things for my party members to clean up easier was great. In Final Fantasy XIV, my Lalafell could simultaneously save the team by healing while also knowing that they'll save me and have my back given the chance. I never feel like I have to be perfect, and that rang true while playing Monster Hunter World too. So what if I wanted to chase the little green glow bugs and pick herbs and mushrooms while Doza goes toe-to-toe with the monster? We both get to thrive in our own ways. Plus, I can always come back from my quick detour, lay down a trap or something, and get right back into the fight. With Monster Hunter Wilds making an even bigger effort to streamline the hunting process, and with a bigger focus on story than ever before, there's a lot for me to look forward to as someone who may not necessarily thrive when it comes to fighting. Plus, I can't wait to hunt with Lila again and give my Poogie all the cuddles and love too. Who could resist those cute faces? And I did set her voice to English at the highest pitch, don't at me.
So whether you want to feel like the team captain MVP like I want to, or just a member of the team that's happy to be there,
like I am,
there's something for everyone to enjoy when engaging in the cooperative aspects of Monster Hunter, and Wilds is looking to capitalize on that even more.
However, we do hope that progressing the story together is made easier.
Had we not built up our love for each other as well as with Monster Hunter, having to wait for each person to watch a cutscene before we can hunt together every single story quest would have been a lot more grating of an experience than it was in Monster Hunter World.
Those who know. So
hopefully that's better. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening to us ramble about one of our favorite shared franchises, and thank you to our Patreon and YouTube member globs. We really cannot express how thankful we are for your support, and if you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe.
We'll see you on the battlefield, fellow globs and hunters.